and I love you, and I love you, Lord, I love you forever and ever. Lord, I love you. Lord, I love you. Lord, I love you. And I love you. And I love you. This is my heart's cry today. And I love you. Lord, I love you. And I love you. And I love you. I worship you. And I worship you. And I worship you. I praise you. I praise you. And I praise you. Lord, I praise you forever and ever. Lord, I praise you. And I praise you. And I praise you. No matter what happens, no matter my situation, I praise you. Lord, I praise you. I love you. And I love you. And I love you. And I love you. Lord, I love you. Everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Beautiful, so beautiful. And everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Beautiful, so beautiful. Everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Beautiful, so beautiful. And everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Beautiful, so beautiful. And everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Beautiful, so beautiful. And everything is beautiful when I'm with you. It's so lovely, so lovely. And everything is lovely when I'm with you. Lovely, so lovely. Everything is lovely when I'm with you. It's wonderful, wonderful, so wonderful. And everything is wonderful when I'm with you. Wonderful, so wonderful. Everything is wonderful when I'm with you. It's beautiful. We sing beautiful, so beautiful. Everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Beautiful, so beautiful. Everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Beautiful, so beautiful. Everything is beautiful when I'm with you. Lovely, so lovely. Everything is lovely when I'm with you. Lovely, so lovely. Everything is lovely when I'm with you. He's so very wonderful, wonderful, so wonderful. Everything is wonderful when I'm with you. Wonderful, so wonderful. Lord, everything is wonderful when I'm with you. You're so good. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're so good to me. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. And God, you're so good. You're so good to me. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're so good to me. And I exalt thee. And I exalt thee. And I exalt thee. O Lord, I exalt thee, O Lord, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, O Lord, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, O Lord, I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, yes I do, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, O Lord, you are worthy, and you are worthy, you are worthy, you are worthy, oh Lord, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, O Lord.
Just voices.
I exalt thee, I exalt thee, I exalt thee, O Lord. I exalt thee, I exalt thee, I exalt thee, O Lord.
We exalt thee.
We exalt thee. We exalt thee. We exalt thee. O Lord.
Amen. Well, hello. Don't hear me. Okay. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Father. We exalt you, Lord. Thank you for your anointing being here today, Lord. Thank you for your spirit being here today, Lord. Thank you for touching Brother Jordan. Let him bless us with a word, Father, in Jesus' name. So, as many of y'all know, anyway, if you need an offering envelope, raise your hands. They'll get you an envelope. So, Janae's father passed away. So as I was thinking about the offering, so one thing, Brother James, one thing he taught me is God's always on time. It doesn't matter what the circumstance looks like. If you believe in God, He's always on time. So, I apologize. So, anyway, I'm going to pray for, thank you, Lord, for touching Tina and the rest of the family, Lord. Let your spirit be on them, Father. Let them feel the love of you, God, going through this. And we give you the praise and glory for it in Jesus' name. Amen. So, I'm sorry for crying, carrying on. So, anyway, if the kids want to come up, we're going to pray for the kids, for them to go to class. Anyway, come up here by Shrek Jr. It's okay. So, anyway, any of the teachers coming, or if they want to, whatever. So, who else we got here? We have Tithe to give if anybody wants to give, text to give. So thank you, Lord, for the children, Father. Thank you that your anointing's on them. Thank you that your anointing's on the teachers, Father. They'll have the peace of God back there. They'll get what you want them to have, Father. In Jesus' name, amen. So, and then, like I said, y'all come on up and we'll take the offering up. So, but now that I'm through anyway, so we can let Mr. Bill help right on that side. So, anyway. I'll let that sit there. So, anyway. So, but like I said, anyway, I didn't mean to cry and carry. Anyway, it's not so. But I'll go ahead and introduce Brother Jordan. Come on. So Brother Jordan drove all the way from Illinois. He got here as fast as he could. So, it's downhill. He got home as fast as he could. So, love you, brother. So y'all give him a clap.
Good morning. Feels good to be back down here. Couple things. One, before we depart too far from the focus, I'm not going to tell you all what to do with your money, but I will highly recommend that you intentionally dig and maybe purpose some to bless her family with the cost of that. Their family has blessed us and you guys with something from them. Janae, you've been a blessing. It's only right. You know, be a father to the fatherless. They have needs that are financial now, amongst many others, but they need help with this stuff. So I would highly recommend that you purpose to give whatever you can, but intentionally to be a help towards her and her family because they have blessed us. Anyways, just want to say that it wouldn't be it wouldn't fall to the roadside, you know, by any means. We love you and we're sorry for the pain and everything. anyways, I'm here with Leah, Soul, and she's up in the sound booth. Soul and Ellie and Lily had to stay back. My sweet punk nephews gave my youngest two hand, foot, and mouth. So she's like, we're going to leave them, and that way we don't spread nobody else. I was like, okay. But yeah, so they're back home. They say hi, and today is Soul's birthday. So I told her, she said she'd be watching, and I told her I would make everybody sing happy birthday to her. Because I would like that, if you guys could do that. And I don't know if the live stream will pick it up or not, but, you know, we should try. Can we be loud? All right, let's do it. So let's take a second to do this. Huh? Just come up, do that. Yeah, let's do that. Everybody. She busted her butt all that year and a half we was here, managing everything and all that, so stare at the camera and sing her happy birthday. Brother Gil, you want to lead it?
Let's get with good voice. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. God bless you. God bless you. Happy birthday to you. And many.
Thank you. That's good. I will. Thank you, guys. It was intentional. No, I don't. I love these opportunities because it's space and time to talk about things that matter and things of God and all that. And at the same time, it's like when I don't like them, it's not because of any negative reasons, because there's so much that you can talk about in God that you just want to talk about everything. And nobody really sets aside enough time in their life to discuss all of that thing, I guess. You know, so it's like I got a little bit of a time window. What in the world do we touch? You know. Me and Janae were talking last night for like a little bit, and I just kind of made a statement that I was like, you know, we can only tell people where we've been. I was like, outside of that, it's like theoretical. It's just, we can tell people what we think about stuff, but that doesn't really matter if you've never walked down those, you know, things. I said, so it really is valuable and beneficial to just discuss where your feet have tread. You know, it's the only real knowledge you have about anything. So, so I just thought I was like, I have, a handful of little stories I want to share, but there's purpose in them and all this stuff. But regarding just what we've been doing with our life and how we've been obeying God and the angle and faith that I've laid my eyes on that I'm walking in. And it's been good and purposeful and intentional for us, and it's kind of funny and inconvenient because it seems to be always met with everyone else's opinions of what they think you should do with your life. You know, and it's like it'll never fail. God will never fail, and that will also always be there. So it's like waiting for the day that just is not a thing anymore. But so after Mexico, and after we left here, we went up to back up to Southern Illinois to. I'm gonna move this back because I feel like I'm like in your guys' face. We went back to help my friend with his. Literally just life endeavors. And before we went to Mexico, I was in prayer one day, and I was just pondering things in the future and all that. And the Lord put in my heart, He was like, after Mexico, go back to Illinois and help. His name's John. He's like, help John with the things he's doing in life. And I was like, okay. So I called John. I'm like, hey, what are you doing in life? I was like, do you need help with it? I was like, because I got this in prayer, but you know how this works. It could just be my own ego or whatever, pride talking. I was like, I need to make sure you're actually in a need and a spot for help, And at that time, he was like, absolutely, man. So he began to tell me everything that was going on. I was like, cool. And they own a barbershop and a coffee shop and everything, and they're real, like, prominent people in the community. So I was like, well, we'll go there. And Soul had been working at Sweethearts here for a year, so she had some management skills on her belt, just practical things. And so I was like, well, she can, help streamline. And the need for them was management, actually. So a good friend of mine was managing it, and just some people aren't management material. It's not an equal opportunity. I'm convinced. When I was in the Army, that was proven. It was like there was leaders, and then there became everyone gets to be one. Or like, how many ditches we got to run into now? I was like, no, you can't just learn how. It's like you're grace for it or nothing. But anywho. So, we've been up there being obedient to that and just giving out of our lives what we have to give. So in her lane, it's those kinds of things, management and all that. And with me, it's, visual concepts, aesthetics, ideas, all that kind of stuff. So, and that's been good and fruitful. She's saved that business from failing. It was in the red, and then in 1 year she brought it out. Like, I don't know how she does that. So I'm like, okay, just cutting fat off, and so I was like, all right, this is good. And so now she's in the spot of like seeking to train somebody to be able to maintain it in the way that she has done it, so that she don't have to be there forever. And that's right, and that's what we should be doing in life with each other as well. So so that's been good and going on and stuff. And then meanwhile, I'm, doing my thing, art, all that kind of stuff, murals and whatever. And started getting involved back in trying to get healthy because I was getting unhealthy. So started working out again, started going to a gym, doing some stuff I like. At the time, I'm not going to sit here for a while, but for the time, a gym I was going to, I was invited to go to it, and it turned out it ended up being like a group of people who are very heavily political activists of like Marxism and communism and all this type of stuff. I'm like, oh great, like we have nothing in common, and but I was like, but dang, like you're also like you need stuff I got. You know what I'm saying? I was like, and how do I do this effectively, right? So being around them, with them for a year, just being consistent, never letting them annoy me to a temper tantrum, like just staying even kill. And being steadfast in the truth that I know is the truth. And I'm uninterested in dealing in opinions, And so we had, it was a real good, nice little roller coaster. And then we ended up having like a, graceful kind of falling out, if there is one, But, and it ended with this kind of statement from my friend. He said, you have had every opportunity to capitalize on my weaknesses. He goes, and you didn't. He goes, and I just want you to know that was very noticeable. And I said, thanks. I go, you know what that's called? I said, it's called self-control, And he's like, I know. And he had some personal things going on, and I'm not going to tell you any of those, but I was like, but you need that. I was like, you need self-control. I said, and I have to exemplify that to you. I can't just tell you need something and you never then see what you need. I was like, I have to actually demonstrate that at whatever cost for me that's going to be. Every insult, every cuss word, every slander, every whatever, I have to maintain self-control. And just like, this is it. And it was valuable to him, And we separated ways and all that stuff, and he's got choices to make and all that kind of thing. And it is what it is. And, I hope that he comes around on stuff for his own peace in life, And then, so time goes on, and then I'm like at this coffee shop north of us, in a town north of us, who roasts coffee. And Soul's my friend's place. They buy some from them. So I'm like, hey, I'd like to learn a little bit more about it, because if you know anything about me, I'm a coffee snob, but I just want to know how to do it all, So I go up there, and the guy needed help, and so I'm helping him part-time. Meanwhile, there's a girl that gets hired there, and her name is Maddie, and she's sweet, she's precious. I know her family slightly, and I'm going to talk a little bit about her and our time together up there. But what has really been opening up to us, I say all that as a quick, set the stage. But what's really been opening up to Soul and I, and what we're trying to teach our kids and everything, is like we're convinced more than ever. We've always had the preference towards this, but now we're convinced in it, and now we've like set foot this way, and we're like, this is just what we do. This makes sense. Like, if we can't do this stuff that we're all gathering and reading about, like in everyday exchanges in life, then like then you belong to a fantasy. If it can never become reality, if it can never be tread out, you just belong to this fantasized version of Christianity. It'll never be obtainable. no one can ever then see it. They can only share with what you think things are, right? So it's like there is much value in just helping somebody with their things in life, even if it's not a church service in one shape, right? They're following things and giftings and abilities in them that God has put in them to do, to serve the community in certain ways, And, we say it, and I'm not indicting nobody. I'm not even here to correct or anything like that. I'm just saying we say it. This is how I remind myself. It's like we say we want to help people. We say we want to be, good and assistance and light and all that stuff to them. It's like, but then when it's something normal looking, we're like, if I have time. Like, it's like, unless it's like hyper spiritual and I get immediate either validation or gratification from it, I really don't want it. And it's like, and who can trust you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've heard it said, and where it's like, if you're faithful in the small things, then he'll entrust you with the large things. But that's not fully how that goes. It's if you're faithful in the small things, you will be faithful in the large things. It's an issue of faithfulness is there or it's not. You understand what I'm saying? It's like if you're not faithful with little things, you're not going to all of a sudden become faithful when you get given a lot. That's the point of this whole thing. It's like it's either in there or it isn't. So if you value the small things, then you totally can be trusted with whatever he gives you. Because I always say it this way in different contexts, but I'm like, multitudes of people are a bunch of individuals sitting next to each other. If you want the crowd, you got to value the individual, because that's a bunch of individuals make up a crowd, So we look at stuff like that. We're like, this matters. It matters that we're obedient. It matters that we value what the Lord told us to do, that we steward it as best as we can with the things that he's given us to use, And so everywhere I go, I kind of arm myself with that thing. I'll get to Maddie in a minute. But so I got some friends. One of them, they went down to Mexico with Bo and them. He's from a town up there, and he teaches in a school in a town next to us. And they have me come and speak to their what was called First Priority. And I don't know if anybody knows what that is or not, but it's like a Baptist organization through the churches, through the schools, that like one Wednesday a week they get to gather and have like a devotional or something like that. And so he started getting a bunch of, because he's a spirit-filled, God-loving guy, he started getting a bunch of kickback from the Baptist churches and around there and stuff. So he drops the Baptist thing and just like, we're just going to do something else, but maintain the same slot, whatever. But will you come and speak to the kids? Like, yeah. And he's like, for whatever reason, they really like you. I was like, cool. And I was like, make sure they tell all the other churches they go to, And so we go up there, and I'm just sharing with them. And I told them this. I said, guys, I said, I believe certain ways when I'm at spots. I said, I believe, we're taught the armor of God from children's church, whatever. I said, what are the boots? Somebody, what are the boots? What are say the gospel? What are some other like nuanced translations in there? Like the preparedness, right? The shod prepared, for the gospel, whatever, this type of stuff. I was like, or readiness or whatever. I said, I believe that I'm prepared everywhere I go to give an answer to whatever is in front of me. I go, and that is not the same to say that I know everything, because I'm not omnipresent. I'm not everywhere everything is. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm only where certain things are. But I also believe that it's not by accident. I was like, and if I believe my feet are prepared, why would I ever confidently agree with, I don't have an answer for that? Like, really? Did you take your shoes off? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, no, I believe that, like, whatever I've been through, whatever the Lord's taught me, like, I have an answer for wherever I'm at. Because if I'm where I'm supposed to be, then I'm supposed to be there, and I have what I need. Like, who wants to believe you don't have the weapon for the battle when you do? Like, it's not a confident thought. That's when you tremble and get confused, and then you're just going to sow confusion because you're not actually in any vein of truth. Like, So I take that with me everywhere. So I'm like at that school, I'm like, I can freely speak here because I'm not owned by the school, first off, or the state or anything else. Like, I was like, I can just talk, and y'all can love it or hate it, but we're good, and they like it, So I keep going back there and speaking to those kids. And I'm not even like, really pulling any punches because again, my problem for most people It's not, I like it, but I'm combative. I'm a fighter by nature. So if I believe I have an adversary and an opponent that is merciless towards you all and me, he's never once showed me kindness. I don't know about you. The devil shook into your hands and said, good job, son, right? It just tempts you and rakes you through miserable stuff in life, and then who cares about you? He's merciless, so I was to be merciless back. So, if he's going to hit these kids without asking permission, I'm just going to hit them without asking permission. But, it's a different punch, right? It's like you're being exposed to all kinds of stuff. I'm just going to expose you to the better stuff, So I just started talking about heavenly stuff. I was just like, this, y'all need to get understanding. I said, this is not a business. This is not a corporation. This is none of this stuff. I said, we're talking about descriptions about an enthroned one, high and lifted up with living creatures and angels and elders and all this stuff. I said, all these heavenly descriptions, you can't patent, you can't LLC, you can't make a nonprofit. I was like, this is a different spiritual reality that exists. And either you want that or you get the other. I was like, I ain't gonna die for organizations and corporations and all that kind of stuff. I'll die for the one who died for me, who's seated on the throne. And I was like, but you don't even know these descriptions because nobody reads them to you because they think they're out of your space. I was like, well, they are, but you're supposed to go there as a thing. Like you were either elevated into them or you stay low and dumb, realistically. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not it. I was like, and I don't want to be guilty of selling you an imposter, realistically. That's my own personal issue. That's why these moments like this matter. And we were talking last night. I was like, it's just why your words matter. It's what you teach matters. It's why not everybody should become a teacher on these things, and all this kind of thing. I was like, it just matters. I was like, you tremble. I'm nervous, not because I feel inadequate, is because the things I'm talking about are realities outside of me that I came into. I don't get to change the details of them because I think I can. I have to be very careful to peer into these things and look at what I'm seeing and go, okay, this is it. And then be patient and willing to lead someone to what it is. And that's the thing. I can't just, it would be an injustice to you to just, not to you, to anyone, to just fly by really fast with it. And it's like, stuff's different, than everything else. I'm going to read to you out of Isaiah chapter 32. I shared this in Mexico when we went. There was a church body down there that was dealing with some usurping kind of activity and stuff, and I addressed some of it, and then I laid this out as an identifier to how to identify ministers. So that they could so they could know the characteristics of a wolf versus whatever. Because I was like, we can address the situations, but if you don't get equipped with understanding what the adversary looks like, then it's just going to repeat itself over and over. You got to learn to discern nature, So, anywho, but starting chapter 32, 1 through 8. I want to touch real quick. I'm just going to read this and then whatever. So I'm reading out of, what am I reading out of? It's called the Jewish Bible. So the Tanakh, the Holy Scripture, it's Hebrew translated to English, so it may read slightly different, but you get it. Pull up whatever one you want, doesn't matter. It says, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness. Who is that? Exactly. And ministers shall govern with justice. Who is that? Yes, say it louder. Who's that? All right. Every one of them, every one of you, shall be like a refuge from gales. Not Miss Gale, but the windy storms. We all love Miss Gale. Every one of them should be a refuge from storms in life, a shelter from rainstorms, like brooks of water in a desert, like the shade of a massive rock. Excuse me. In a languishing land or a weary land. If we are that, then the eyes of those who have sight shall be sealed, or shall not be sealed, and the ears of those who have hearing shall listen, and the minds of the thoughtless shall attend and note, and the tongues of the mumblers shall speak with fluent eloquence. No more shall a villain be called noble, nor shall a gentleman be said of a scoundrel. For the villain speaks villainly and plots treachery, to act impiously, and to preach disloyalty against the Lord, to leave the hungry unsatisfied and deprive the thirsty of drink. As for the scoundrel, his tools are knavish. He forges plots to destroy the poor or those who are lacking anything with falsehoods, and the needy when they plead their cause. But the noble has noble intentions and is constant in noble acts. So this is some great foresight of what ministers of the gospel will do and how they should be and exist inside the context of everything that's around us. We're alive in some exciting times. I every now and then, it would be good to just remember you were made for today. You know, when I was in intelligence in the military, they told us, don't watch the news, it's misinformation. Thank you. So I stopped a long time ago. Okay, so there ain't nothing you're going to guide your life regarding that. But let's say you're surrounded by the details that are around it all. Just remember you were made for this time. So then the next question should be, how should you be in this time? You know, I would say and charge you, if it's not refuge from storms, if it's not a shelter from rainstorms, if it's not like a brook of water in a desert, if it's not a shade of a massive rock in a weary land, you're doing something wrong. You got to be that to people. Okay, you got to offer them something. And I like these examples because they're all different. One's a river, one's a rock, one's a piece of thing, one's shade from a tree, like, or whatever. There's just differences, but it's all brings relief and all this stuff. Again, this is how I view myself, and this is my expectancy that I put on ministers in general. It's also why I have such an issue with a lot of them when I find myself amongst their groups. You guys have been the only group, I say maybe that's a strong word, but you've been awesome. Like when we got to know you guys, I was like, this is the only church I've been to where I didn't have a problem with anybody. Like, I swear, And Leah, she's like, I like Alabama. She's like, that's the place where, how'd you phrase it? You're like, it's the only place that has accepted all of us for us. I was like, yeah, amen. No, so that's good, But I have that issues because I go around to other places, other leadership, other, whatever, and I don't find the details that should be found in ministers in their ministers. So feels like something else that I'm against. And that fight or flight in me goes to fight more than it does flight, right? So I'm just like, let's see what's in there. Maybe you're just confused. Do a little Jedi head nod. Like maybe you're just confused, and maybe find something else. Like, let's find what the truth is and you can quickly adjust to that so I don't got to deal with you in other ways. But anyway, so I had somebody who I love dearly ask me recently. They're like, so what are you doing now? I'm like, I don't know, just doing life, And like, are you preaching anywhere? I was like, not like, I'm not saying why. I'm going like, what kind of question is that? I was like, I preach like, well, yeah, it is. I mean, it's like that. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I preach as I talk, but also like, I'm not looking for a place to preach, but I'm also not looking to not, like, I just like, what do you, I'm like, what? It's just, that it just bothers me. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know how to answer that anymore. Like, I get what you're saying, but also like, I'm not off, meaning like I'm not turned off, I'm not inactive if that's not happening. I was like, there's so many other things. Like, I'm like, okay, like, so I'm at work and this girl, Maddie, she's openly gay and all this stuff, right? And we're talking one day and she's just like, she's like, I don't know much about Jesus. She goes, my grandma was a real religious person. Like I would try to ask her questions, but all I ever heard was I'm just going to hell because of my lifestyle. And I was like, yeah, and I got to sit here and go, hey, I got to say these things to her, not only what belongs to the truth, but also about her grandma. I was like, dude, no one's spared. If you're in my thing, like, I have a personal goal. Like, I am not allowed to be biased. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I can't just say, well, I was like, honestly, it's not why everybody should teach. They don't know what they're talking about. That doesn't mean that's a false statement. It means she has no idea how to teach you. It's not the content, it's how to feed. It just, you know, I'm like, look, and she's like, and it's just made me, she's like, I want to know more about Jesus. So now I'm sitting here going like, oh, here's an opportunity. Like, you know, like, and I can't deprive her of what she's thirsty for. You know, and I'm there from 10 to 2. That's not that long, 3 days a week, just a part-time, you know, thing. And I'm like, okay. And, you know, you don't know when people's coming in. So, you know, it's like, how in the world is this going to happen, you know? So first, I'm like, jobs are not as important as we've made them. So I can lose this if I have to for a good cause. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I already have to wrestle that down and be like, all right, I can respect my boss, but I have a boss that's more bossier than him. You know, it's like, I have a commander-in-chief, and I have a boss that teaches me coffee, and then I have a, you know, commander-in-chief wife, and then a boss that teaches me coffee. Like, you know, so, you know, so I'm just like, all right, you know, so I can't distort the truth for her. I can't withhold the things that she needs, you know, and I can't just focus on one thing that is, you know, whatever. So I'm like, all right, well, you know, so we're talking. And I was like, well, what are your questions? So she's just like, and, you know, here's the other thing. Like, you don't know who's going to ask you what. I'm talking like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm waiting. She has not asked me once. So is my grandma right? Am I going to go to hell? She has not asked me that. I'm thinking that's going to be the first thing she's going to say. And I'm just like, and instead she starts asking me all these other things. I'm like, dude, you know, she's like, what is, now this has nothing to do with homosexuality, just hear me out. She's just like, so I've been like seeing, like, she's like, what is Zionism? I was like, whoa. She's like, and what is like Islam? Like, you know, and I was like, okay, like, all right. I was like, so we're going to go here. And then she's like, so what is this? What is that? You know, what is the gospel? Like, I hear this a lot. I hear, you know, so I was like, all right, well, look, let's just go back to the beginning. So I just start. And I'm talking like I just start. I'm pulling out every analogy I know. I'm talking a riddle. I'm talking a parable. I'll give you 5 examples on how to get what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's it. I was like, let's look at this. I said, there's like a pair of scissors on the table. I was like, so here's a pair of scissors, right? She's like, okay. I go, I'm going to be God in this analogy. I said, I'm God. The scissors are you or mankind. And this table, I was like, I've made that to do a certain function. And they're broke right now. I said, I have an option. I can throw them away and start new, or I also have the wisdom to repair the thing. So I go to restore it. You know, I go, now if that scissor says I don't want to cut after I fix it, the scissor has an issue, right? I was like, because it's my plan and my design that this thing has to carry out. I was like, and if it doesn't want to, it becomes stubborn and obstinate and rebellious to me. You know, I was like, so any other way other than opening and closing is wrong for that scissor. I was like, just because you can use it to pick a loose lock or do what, you know what I'm saying? What I go, doesn't mean that's what they're made for. Like, you can open up doors with butter knives and credit cards. Those aren't keys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it's different. You know what I mean? I was like, it becomes a perverse reason, you know? And she's, okay, and I said way more than that, but I'm just saying, you know, I was talking. So, like, and I don't know what day she's going to ask this stuff. We're just doing stuff, we're talking about coffee recipes, you know, whatever, and then it hits there, and it goes, you know. She's like, what is Sharia law? I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, I don't once go like, it's not for you right now, because the thing is, crap's going to swallow people up. We don't know. Like, you know, it's not. It doesn't ask you if you know it or not. We figured this out. Darkness doesn't go, are you familiar with me? Can I seduce you and make you crooked? Like, you know, it's like, no, it masquerades as light, you know? So, you know, I'm just telling her, I was like, here's why it's wrong, here's what this, that, whatever, you know. I'm like, look, Abraham and Isaac, and then there's this dude Ishmael, like, you know, so I'm just telling her these stories, man. And I'm going down, I was like, covenant and blah, 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 touching all this stuff. And it's amazing because she's telling me things. She's like, when I go home, me and my girlfriend talk about these things. I'm like, oh, this is so interesting how this is happening, you know? And I'm just like, okay. She's like, we talk about this stuff. Like, I tell her things we talk about, and we're pondering, and, you know, and she's like, and I don't know everything, you know? I'm like, you don't have to. What you have to do is learn. It's like, that's what you have to do. I was like, just learn. Be discipled in a way, you know? And And she's like, I'm trying to just get as much knowledge before so I can make an educated decision. And it's to the point now, and I've skipped through a whole lot, and maybe I'll recall a few, but she's like, I told my girlfriend, she's like, I don't know what this is going to mean. She's like, I may become a Christian, and this, that, and the other. And she's like, I'm just trying to get enough knowledge so I can make like an educated decision or whatever. I was like, that's fair. I go, but I will say this. I said, the only thing this knowledge can do is help discipline you in the way, which would make you a disciple. I said, but words of our own Christ says, anyone who seeks to be a disciple of mine, he must first deny himself, then pick up his cross and follow me. I said, so none of this is going to be useful to you if you will not willingly deny self and all at once. She goes, I just got goosebumps. I was like, it's what it is. I was like, because the whole crux of this is we serve another will that is not our own. And if you can't deny self, you'll never know how to serve someone else's will. And that's what makes Lord, Lord. So it makes anyone Lord. You have a landlord because you do what he wants you to do in that house. You know what I'm saying? Lord means totality or not at all. Like there's not like 50% lordship. It's you do what I say or nothing. I mean, Jesus says that. Why do you call me Lord but don't do what I say? You know? So I'm like, you got to deny self. That's first and foremost. And I was telling her, I was like, look, one of the identifiable markings of the people of God is that we're supposed to be saying, sorry for all the bad examples you've been shown. I was like, but we are people of another will. It's not our own. We're supposed to defer one to another even in the smaller community of the stuff. I said, because it's supposed to be showing that we know how to serve a higher call, someone else's will, whatever. You know, I was like, the image between the Father and the Son, and I was like, and even the Spirit, I said, the Father don't even glorify himself, he glorifies the Son. And the Son don't even glorify himself, he glorifies the Father. And the Spirit comes on, he goes, I'm not even going to speak for myself, I'm just going to remind you of what him and him said. Like, you know, I was like, it's so selfless in true nature. I was like, so the only way you can do that is to deny self. I was like, in all these other ways of living, and man, I went back to origin stories. I mean, I'm talking to this girl about like, the fall, not even of man, I'm talking about like the fall of the angels, the knowledge that they gave mankind, all the perverse ways that exist. I was like that people were lashing out in life and they were just walking in life doing this. I was like, and that grieved God. So he's like, this is going to be an issue. I'm going to destroy it, start over. He preserves righteousness and only righteousness, like, you know, and telling her like worship. I was like, this is like your life manifesting truth in God or not. I go, it's beyond. I go, as much as I am a musician and heart and all this type of stuff, I go, beyond the music, there's first the truth. It's what gives credence to the music. You understand? It's like, what good is any of us singing anything if it's all false? Like, those are crappy songs. Those are the songs that most of us don't listen to. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, so truth is supreme in this exchange. I was like, so to know that the ways of God are good and transforming and they bring you into the right ways you're supposed to go, I was like, matters that you discover what those ways are. I was like, and how are you supposed to know them if no one will tell you? You know, and then we're in a coffee shop, just doing work, you know, and it's just me and her. And she's like, she goes, when you speak, she goes, like things are going off. She's like, this is connecting, that's connecting, that's connecting. I was like, good, that's called like revelation. That's called, you know, that's also called the virtue that I got the thing. I said, because anybody can say anything. I go, but if it's not ringing that bell inside, I don't know what they're saying. Like, you know, I've heard a lot of people talk, and I've disregarded the majority of it, you know, but the ones that keep resonating, it just, you know, it's like that lesson that you taught at the very beginning of the worship stuff, the sympathetic vibration. Oh, gosh, what is that? Tuning fork, right? Is that what that is? A metal tuning fork, boom, you hit that, it vibrates, and you put another one next to it. You don't even have to touch it. It just picks up the vibration and starts vibrating in the same exact way, you know. It's that she's like, it's just, things are going off, things are connected, things are making sense. It's like, good. I said, that's called the light of God, and it's illuminating the dark spots in your mind. You know, I was like, to see the way. God is the light of men that gives light to men. I go, we're not to put our lamp in the corner or under the bed or a bushel on it. I go, half of our issues is we're too timid, so we don't go into the center of the room to let our light shine before men, and we're also, we don't know what the bushels are in life. We have a terrible time identifying them. And we mask crap as wisdom, and it snuffs your light. And we think, oh, that's supposed to be on. You know, I was like, just let your light shine. You know, I was like, and that's what I'm doing. I was like, and, you know, and whatever. So I'm just going. I'm making, so I'm like, if I say a matter, I don't care if it's like too deep for her. I'm willing to scuba dive with her and show her how to breathe. I'm not just like, go down there and tell me what you find. Like, like they don't know how to do any of that. It's like, I'll take you down. I'll be the little chain that like keeps you there and marked and, it's like, and we'll go back up. Like, just signal, like, just make it make sense. I'll commit my time to that. That's me. I'm saying, I will be however much water someone needs, and until my rag is wrung out, until they get to the end of whatever I've been given. I'm like, that's where I no longer have an answer for you. You got to go to someone else. Let me introduce you to the other part of the body, like, and whatever. But it's been encouraging and good for her. It's been encouraging and good for me because she's at this spot. She's wanting to know the stuff that everyone tells her she needs to know. And so we were talking about something. I'm not even trying to make this about, anything, whatever, political or whatever, but she was talking about the whole Sharia law thing. And I go, you realize that they throw you and your kind off of buildings? Like they're merciless towards you? I was like, there's not a spot in their world for a homosexual at all. I said, they don't even believe that, I don't think you can convert from that to Islam or whatever. I was like, you're completely hated to such a degree. I said, now if any Christian has made that vibe, I go, they're wrong. I said, because the difference between us and them, I go, is we're saying you can be washed. You can be changed. This is what some of you were, Paul says. Rattles off a whole list. I said, you're in that list. But so is like greedy and idolaters and all this other stuff. I said, it ain't the only freaking boogeyman, guys. Excuse me. I've been in the street too long. No, but I was like, it's not the only boogeyman. It's like there's a whole list. I said, but then he goes, but this is what some of you were. But you've been washed. I go, so that gives you some insight of what the blood of Christ does. I was like, we believe in restoration and redemption. I said, if you haven't been taught that from us, that's not a teacher. I'm sorry. And I was like, and I was explaining to her, I said, all the things that you think, and I'm not even touching it directly. I'm touching it intentionally, indirectly with her, letting her put the pieces together. But I said, we're talking about the basis of desire and stuff. I said, yes, in theory, there's things you lose when you come into him. But what many don't seem to understand or remember to recall are all the new things that you got desires for. All the new passions that birthed in you in God. And I go, I couldn't tell you when that happened in me. That's not to say it's not there. I'm saying I couldn't tell you the day where I'm like, all of a sudden I'm just interested in things that belong to God and truth. It just happened. It's like a seed that grows in you, and all of a sudden new branches and fruit start coming from it, and all this type of thing. I said, you don't get to decide Thursday I'm going to start caring about other things. It just shifts slowly. And the next thing you know, you're just focusing and things make more sense to you than the other things, and you realize, doesn't matter. I was like, but if that seed is never planted and then never watered and then never guided, and I was like, then it all gets choked out. I was like, but you do get new desires. You do get new things. Your mind does get changed. I was like, it does happen. And it's beautiful. I was like, the thing is, you can't even decide right where you're at in life to deny the whole thing because you don't even know what it is you're denying. It'd be such an ignorant denial. You can only fully say no to something that you know. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? I was like, you don't even know the things of God yet. She asked something one day, and I was like, the fact that you're asking this shows that you don't even know the other. I was like, so it would be wrong for you to just assume he's X, Y, and Z because you didn't even know this. And she's like, that's fair. I said, so you need to give him some time and let him show himself to you in truth and he'll walk with you. He'll light your way. He'll be so tender to you. It's like, you have no idea how good he's going to be to you. I was like, just don't. I was like, so to say no to someone you don't even know is crazy. And she's like, no, that's fair. And she's not hostile to it. She's like, she goes, you're the only, what'd she say? She goes, you're the only source or whatever that I have in my life regarding this right now. So what do I do? Obey, stay as long as I possibly need to because I'm simply her only source. Why would I, if I was the tree, if I was the rock, if I was the stream, why would I decide to dry myself up? Why would I decide to move? Why would I, you know what I'm saying, from that, so she don't have the shade no more? Why would I do that to her? She's lost in the whole thing. Further on in that chapter, we'll start verse 15. It speaks of the coming of the Spirit. It says, till the Spirit from on high is poured out on us, and wilderness is transformed into farmland. While farmland rates as mere brush, the justice shall abide in the wilderness, and the righteousness shall dwell on the farmland. For the work of the righteous, shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness, calm and confidence forever. Then my people shall dwell in peaceful homes, in secure dwellings, in untroubled places of rest, and the brush shall sink and vanish, even as the city is laid low. Happy shall you be who sow by all waters, who send out cattle and asses to pasture. So there's something in this. You can read the whole chapter. I'm only intentionally leaving out the middle part because it's dramatic and it's not the focus I want to do. It's not wrong. I'm just saying like it's whatever. So there's something here where what looks like wilderness and untamed land and all this type of thing, and the value is just brush. I don't know if anybody does real estate or owns property, but like who really wants to buy a bunch of acreage of just brush? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's problematic. It's like, you have to develop it, everything. So untamed, uninteresting land. When the Spirit's poured out, it says right here, it changes into fertile land. It changes into farmland. I view these walks of life like this with her. In the same town, there's this hippie music festival that happened, and the owner, it's on this campground. And it was a big deal for there. It was thousands of people showed up, and we live in a town of like 8,200 people. So it's like 1,000 is already, 20% of the population. But there's this big old festival up there, and they all know I'm an artist. They're like, hey, you want to do a vendor thing? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll go there. And then stuff started to happen to where I'm like, I don't think I'll be able to go there. I don't have enough paintings. Sorry, man. And he's like, well, we had a vendor pull out, and you can just come and live paint if you want. I was like, okay. So he's like, if you just have any pieces, he just kept adding. He's like, if you have any pieces, just even half a table, just bring it. I was like, all right. So I was looking, I ended up having a full set. I was like, oh, okay. I just took everything off my walls or out of my own life and just brought it there to show. And so I'm sitting there amongst, it's a legit, like I'm talking, new agey little deal. There's sound baths and a weed house and fire dancers and, it's full blown thing. It was not for the faint of heart, I guess, And so I'm sitting there, I'm setting up with some other live painters, and I can tell, I don't know about everybody else, but I can tell who's on what side. I'm like, you're all right, like like probably a witch. You're there's like I can vibe it, and so we're sitting there, and I'm like, I have nothing in common with these people. I'm not that type of artist. I already know, so I'm just like, they're gonna like this is probably gonna be fun. Like, no, I'm thinking like this is not gonna be fun. Like like this is gonna be a stoning all weekend long is what this is going to be. So I'm sitting there, I start playing some music, playing some these, it was actually like the book of Ecclesiastes, but rendered to the styles of blues, which was awesome. Like, I don't know, okay, so do that. Do that. If you haven't done that, do that. So it's just, like, whatever, and so I'm like, this is great. So I start doing some stuff, and this older lady comes up who's a painter, and I can see, like, my walk of life and the art stuff. I've judged high school, county fairs, and all this stuff. You can see through art what's in people. Like, it's easy. They don't even have to say. They're some of the most introverted people ever, but that's fine. Give them a brush. They'll paint. They'll tell you what's going on in them just by showing you. Like, that's it. So I'm like, all right. Like, So I'm looking at their paintings. I'm like, gross. Like, this is gross. Good technique, but what are you looking at? You know what I mean? I'm like, but again, I'm like, this is darkness. Like, what else are they supposed to have? The light hasn't come. It's still night. The dawn hasn't dawned yet. So I'm like, So sitting there, and I start to do my thing. And this lady, she's like, oh my gosh. And it's going to sound like I'm drumming myself up for a minute sorry, I'm not. I'm just recalling whatever she said. But she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, can I just like watch you do this and just take notes like of your process, like how you know, she's like, this is insane that you're able to do this that fast and to this ability or whatever. I'm like, sure, you know. She's like, what do you do? Like, do you, like, you know, she's like, how, you know, they're offering me everything. I was telling her, I was like, I don't know how many times I got offered joints and bowls and everything. You know, it's like, hey, I was like, that's their customary thank you. And I like you here. You know, I'm like, I'm good. And then they're going like, how do you do all this? I said, well, I'm sober for one. I was like, you know, and they're like, seriously? I'm like, yeah. I was like, you know, I was like, things go a lot faster when you're not like, you know, and whatever. And so anyway, so I'm just telling them my process, like, you know, and all that. And you would have thought that I was the first painter they ever saw. I mean, it was the weirdest thing, you know. And I'm like, this is fascinating. So, and also the kindest people you would ever meet. Precious. Like, I mean, hippies, witches, whatever, like the kindest people you'll ever meet. You know, I'm like, this is wild. Like, you know, I'm sitting here just like by myself going like, dang. And I started realizing, I was like, I've got some foot indoors here. There's opportunities I'm taking, you know, I'm telling them, and I'm being very intentional with my language because I know some of these people that are in the witchy world, like they're very intentional with their language. They'll trap you with language. Like, you know, so it's like, I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm being choosy with my words because this is a battle going on and I can do this with a smile. Like, you know, and so I'm just like, all right. And so I'm painting this picture and I'm talking to this lady and she just is, you know, she's painting hers and all this kind of stuff, and we're just doing it, you know. And I'm there for like an entire weekend, and I didn't camp out there. You could. One night I fell asleep in my truck to wake up early to go home to get ready, you know, come back, because I stayed up really late talking to other people. And but like every day they'd be like, oh, we was wondering when you was gonna get back here, like, you know, we're just looking forward to you showing back up. And I'm like, why? I'm not like any of you, like at all, like, you know. And I was just like, what the heck? I'm like, okay. You know, cool. So we're just talking. And this one dude who had some just vile stuff, he was that language for like a good minute until he wasn't. The rest of the weekend, he just stopped saying gross things and just started gifting me stuff of his own things. Like, you know, and I was just like, thanks, man. You know, and he's just like, oh, you know, I gave him some prints. And you would have thought, again, I paid his electric bill or something. It's just like, man, like, thank you so much. Like, this means so, you know, I'm like, awesome. Like, you know, okay. So, you know, they're saying stuff and I'm saying things, you know, we're just putting stuff where it goes. And then, and I'm having, this is like hindsight, I'm having words of knowledge and insight with these people. But I don't even know, when I'm saying I don't even know what it is, I know what that stuff is, like, you know, whatever. But I don't know ahead of time, oh, hey, like, I got something for you. The Lord said, you know, I just talk. That's it. I just talk. And then sentences come through that just penetrate them, like, you know, whatever. And they're like, what the heck? So I'm talking to this girl, this lady, she's telling me, she's like, yeah, there's this time where, you know, she lived homeless with her son in a car for however many years. And I was like, I bet you and your son are really close then. She's like, oh yeah, we are. You know, I'm like, that's cool. And I'm painting this picture going on with Ecclesiastes, the whole, you know, point. So what I'm painting, and you may have seen it if you go on my Facebook, it's the one where it's like the little desert land and like the dude in the hood, you know, in the cloak, whatever. I was like, I'm trying to just make this thing look like this meaningless, everything's temporary except for the thing that's not type thing. You know what I mean? I was like, all this stuff passes away, all these little treasures, everything you can make yourself to be. Here, it all comes to an end. The man, the shell, the seed, whatever, is like we get old and decrepit and we dry up and we die. But the thing that doesn't die is the thing that's his. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, we live forever in him. So I'm explaining this picture to her, and you know, and then the more we're talking and stuff, and I'm like, man, I was like, but I need to put something in this little dried up riverbed. And then I'm like, and I'm thinking heavily symbolic here, and I got some trees in the picture that don't have leaves, so I was like, I kind of need, there needs to be, I'm thinking, it'd be like Brother Gill writing music. I'm like, there needs to be something here. I don't know yet. Like, you know, I was like, but something, it's calling for it. And then, so she goes, and I looked at her painting, so I know this about her. Sneaking awesome lady. But I saw one, you know, who knows what a still life is, like when you paint just objects sitting, okay. So that means at one point in time, she had to be in front of those objects, okay. So I'm looking at one of her still lifes, and there's some books and some random things and some pentagram candles, white candles. I was like, oh, okay, like, hey, you're totally in the witchy world, you know? And I was like, all right, I know what all those are. But I'm not saying any of that to her. I'm just like, okay. And so we're talking, and we're going deep. I mean, you know, we're talking spiritual stuff, you know? And so at one point, she's like, she was like, are you like spiritual or something? I was like, I mean, I hope so. You know, I go, I'm what they, you know, I'm just being playful with them. I go, I'm what they call a Christian mystic, you know? And she goes, you know, whatever. And I was like, all right, so now we're tracking, you know. And so we start talking. So she goes, like, and she's sitting there just eyeballing the painting, and we're talking, we're just looking at it. I was like, something needs to go in those trees. I don't know what, though. And I was like, I don't want to do leaves, because that speaks to life. I'm trying to speak to the end of all that. And she's like, well, you know, and she was very choosy with her words. She's like, there's these things, she's like, certain places that certain people find sacred to them for their reasons, because there's these things that hang from the trees, and they're ribbons or they're strings, and sometimes they're purple or red. And I'm like, this lady don't think I know she don't think I do my homework, like, you know. And I'm like, just letting her talk, and she's like, actually, come and think of it, they're red. They're all. I'm like, I know they're always red. Like, you're trying to, you know, misguide me. And what those are called, for those who don't know, like, those are called fetishes. Like, you know, it's like it's what the witchcraft and voodoo world does and all stuff. And so I'm like, the little altars and prayers and things. And she's like, you know, that'd be really cool. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. This is what I just like. She sounds like, nah, I'm not going to put that in there. I was like, I know what that is. It's not what I'm going for. And so saying some other things. So I paint in there a teddy bear that's just left, you know. I'm just thinking this would be a cool little contrast, and this all come together here in a second. Bear with me. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to paint this teddy bear. So she comes back around. I was like, you know, the more I'm thinking about it, I was like, I think I'm just going to do like a teddy bear right there in the middle, just this abandoned little teddy bear. And she's like, I was like, what? She's like, what the heck? And I go, what? She goes, I have a teddy bear that I take everywhere with me in my car. She goes, that my dad gave me, it's the last gift he gave me before he passed away. I was like, I was like, all right. And she goes, are you in my head? I go, quite the contrary. I was like, I'm in yours. Or she goes, am I in your head? I go, you're not in my head. I go, I'm in yours. Like, you know, and I go, if anything, you haven't told me anything about me. Like, you know, I was like, so you're not in there. It's guarded heavily, like fortress, like, you know. I was like, go ahead, pick that lock, try it. Like, you know, and I was like, no. So I'm like, there's something. And then so I'm like, okay, so I paint that. And then I paint a suitcase with some clothes hanging out of it, some trash bags, and a tire wheel back there. So she comes back over later. She's like, what is all this? And so I explained to her, I was like, well, the more I keep thinking about this painting, I can't stop thinking about you. And I would feel weird, like, taking this home because it feels like it's a painting regarding the details of your life now. I go, so you can have it. I'm going to give you this painting. She started bawling. Like, you know, she's like, what the heck, you know? And I was like, yeah. I go, so the suitcase is for that time that you spent homeless and, you know, and all this kind of stuff. That time is fleeting, as well as all of this time is fleeting. Don't waste your days in pursuits of vanity, like, you know, empty pursuits. Like, this is what we're talking about here. And I was like, and then the tires, you know, for the car and all this kind of stuff. And I go, you lived in and out of your bags, you know, so she's just busted up, like just bawling her eyes out. And I mean, she's a mature lady, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so she's crying, and I just hear, oh, thank you, like, won't stop. It's just going. I was like, okay, I hit a geyser, like, you know. And so I'm sitting there, and I was like, all right, well, we're going to, you know, do this. Then I'm going to start, like, like, I'm going to start going in. So I just looked at her. I said, you know, I go, you remind me of my next door neighbor growing up. I go, awesome lady. I was like, super rough around the edges, misunderstood by everybody, loved hard, but, you know, cussed like a sailor. No one knew how to take her. No one could see the compassion in her, like, you know. And she just starts bawling again. And I was like, you love hard, and nobody knows what to do with that, you know. And she's like, I have no idea who to give it to. She goes, I don't know what to do with it, so I don't even, you know, whatever. I mean, and this was like her countenance changed, where it was like all of her on the outside was lifted up, and then it was her holding this little thing in there. You know, she's like, I have no idea what to do with this. And I just looked at her and said, you freely give it because it was freely given to you. Was it not? I go, well, you was an enemy of God, that he showed his love for you by sending Christ to die? And she goes, yes. And I go, I know you've heard that from a whole bunch of other people. I was like, that say the same things. I go, but I'm not like them. I was like, I'm not saying this and then doing something else to you. You know, and then when I said that, I realized, oh, like, I think something else happened. You know, and, you know, she's like, I hear you. And I was like, I go, you're not as like busted up and fragmented as you like to think. I said, that thing is not so easily broken. All the circumstances of your life have only been sent to like try to destroy that thing. And it can't. It's the strongest thing ever. I was like, it is the love of God. Like, it's real. Nothing trumps this whole thing. And I said, so it's still there. It's still alive. You're just not giving into it. Like, you know, it's like you're rejecting it kind of thing. So you need to stop. And you need to actually give it. And it was like that look where someone's in tears, but then they smile under their tears, you know, but the shower's still happening, you know, like it was a pleasant deal. She's like, thank you, you know, and I was like, you need to do that. I was like, that's, you know, whatever. And then, so I go, there's still something else I'm adding to this, but I don't really know where to put it. I go, there's something inside his hood that I want to write, but I don't know how to phrase it or whatever. She looked at me and goes, and she like calculatedly said this, like she goes, I'm open, I'm all ears, whatever your message is, put it, I'll receive it. I'm like, all right, someone who uses words intentionally doesn't accidentally say those things. I was like, deal, like, you know, and then so she goes off and I'm like, all right. And I'm just like, what can I say real short, sweet, that she'll keep in her living room, that, like, you know what I'm saying, that blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I go in, I was like, reconciled by love. Gave it to her. And again, you would have thought I bought her a car or something, you know what I'm saying? And all this whole time, the Lord was showing me, like, the importance of maintaining your ground. And it was a different teaching than what we think. It wasn't like, hey, I showed up, I said all the right stuff, and then they fled, we maintained our ground. Like, no. Maintaining the soil of somebody else, like not losing your place in them. And I was sitting there and I told my dad, I go, this weekend was so, and it wasn't just her, it was her, this other guy, this other lady and her friend, like, you know, all of these people, they were just like gathered around. I was like, I don't know what. I was like, this is awesome. I've never been treated like this before. Like, you know, and it was crazy. And I told my dad, I said, I would have been furious had a caravan of people toting a Jesus flag showed up at that place and started shouting the gospel. I would have lost everything that I was gaining in them because of a different demonstration. Does that make sense? I was like, it would have screwed it all up. Like, I'm there covertly, like, you know, like I'm the soldier that gets to grow the beard and wear the T-shirts. You got to keep the camo on. Like, you know, I was like, don't mess up my stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man. And so I was like, it was so clear where it was like I had good footing in them. They were considering and pondering the things I was saying. They wasn't hostile. I wasn't off-putting. It was attractive to them, not because I was compromising anything on it, because I was installing it intentionally and gently, but aware. You know what I'm saying? There is in Ephesians 5, it says, let me pull this up real fast. It says, Ephesians 5, verse 15. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. Because the days are evil, therefore do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. So I told that lady, or actually real quick, that word for foolish, you think you know what foolishness means until you look up the definition. And you're like, oh, like, okay. So, but that word foolish, don't be foolish, without reason. Senseless, foolish, stupid, without reflection or intelligence, acting rashly. Don't do stuff without reason. Don't do stuff senselessly, foolishly, stupidly. Don't do stuff without reflection or intelligence of what you're doing. So I told her, I said, you look, because it was like I stuck out like a sore thumb there at that festival. I was like, I've never been to a music festival before. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't realize y'all camp and just do drugs the whole time while awesome music plays. Like, it was some cool, like, bluegrass stuff. Nothing was weird there. But so the music was like the best part of it, and the kindness of everybody. But I was like, I go, but I'll tell you this. I said, and when I was talking to her, I go, I know why I'm places. I go, when I start, she's like, are you sure? I said, oh, I'm 100% sure this painting is yours. I said, because I may not know where I'm going to go, but once I realize I'm there, I realize I'm there. I was like, and then I understand then the sentences that are coming through, the little rag that's being wrung out. I go, they're for that moment in time, and the things I'm saying are for you. I was like, you're the one who came up. You're the one who's doing all this. I was like, I'm not confused now as to my belonging in this. I go, I'm here for a reason. There's things I have to say. I was like, I know exactly where I'm at, I know exactly why I'm at the places I go. I just don't know where that's ever going to be. I said, I'm sent around for reasons. Like I'm a child of the wind. I'm offspring of the Spirit. I was like, this is what this is, And I go, I have certain things to say when I'm there, and then when it's over, it's done for me. I was like, and then that's it. So it's like, I'm not unintentional with this, It's like, was it fun? It was fun, but also not the main reason why I was there. My main reason was to talk about that teddy bear, pull out the thing that was in her, and set some stuff straight, and whatever. So then from there, I'm back and forth in the coffee shop, and also I'm not there just to learn coffee, and I know that. And none of this is news to me. What I'm saying? It's just like, I know. Not to lose sight of why I'm there, to where those opportunities, like if someone's asking for something, you give it to them. And if it's like, if the answer is beyond where they're at, teach them to it then. Don't withhold it, because, it's like there's a difference, and again, I'm just saying this to us. I'm not even, whatever. Like, none of you guys are necessarily guilty of this, but it's like there's a difference between, like, yeah, the gospel's simple, but, like, that simple doesn't mean stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like this big, what? I would always say this to people, I was like, if the gospel's so simple and you can say it in one sentence, what in the world was Paul talking about all night long then? All night long. A dude falls asleep, dies, raise him up from the dead, and continues to speak. There's stuff to talk about, guys. I was like, there's communication. There's legit impartation of kingdom realities and this, the way God is and his will being disclosed to men. Like, there's things that they do not know that we are supposed to know. It is our inheritance of him, of his saints. Like, we're supposed to have this stuff. And I did it with Soul when we were first married, and I was so blended up, but somehow this was right. But like, I'd always talk to her about stuff, and she'll vouch for it. I was like, I would talk to her things about the Bible. I'd ponder out loud as if she knew what I was talking about. I would talk to her about these things like they're hers, not like she didn't know. And if she didn't know, that was on her, going like, I don't know what he's talking about, but he's saying it like I should know, so maybe I need to brush up and look into it. I cool guide her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, you know what I'm talking about. Come on. Like, it's just like, I don't want to feel stupid by not following, so I'm going to go, I just did that. I was like, I'm going to speak to you like this is yours because it is. And if I speak to you any other way, I'm not helping you. I'm speaking to you like it's mine, and you just got to figure it out, And I stopped using language like, God saved you yesterday or whatever, because I started realizing at some point, I'm like, dude, like he, 2,000 plus years ago, he saved the world on Calvary. Like, you just became a believer of it yesterday. Like, that's the difference. If I say, hey, I got saved, but you didn't, then what'd God do for you? Like, that's not, you understand, like, how, like, it's like, okay, language kind of matters. That posture will change stuff. And it slowly washes off other stuff on people to where it's just like, if I speak to you like it's yours, you'll feel like you're missing out. Because it's like doing things that other sentences don't do. If we're talking about whatever else, sports, game, I could talk to you about anything, but it doesn't resonate the same. But once it starts giving answers, my friend at work, she was talking about stuff, and she's like self-remedying or self-diagnosing. She's like, I was born this way, and I'm not even sitting here going, no, you wouldn't. I wasn't even going into all that. I just let her talk. She's like, I was born this way. I'm like, mm-hmm. And she's like, or maybe I have dad issues because, whatever. So my dad was terrible, And I'm like, yeah, maybe. I was like, because you haven't ever been shown an actual attractive version of a man. It's repulsed you from day one. It makes a ton of sense. Like, really right. Like, he had anger issues, I suffer from the same anger issues and blah, blah, and this, that, and the other. And I said, most people who have anger issues is because they actually have control issues and they're mad when they're losing control. They don't know how to deal with that because they don't know the ways they should walk. I was like, they think it should be a certain way. When it doesn't go to their opinion, they don't have data. They don't know what to do. So I lose control, so I get mad. I was like, it's actually an expression of like being inadequate in certain deals. And she's like, that's exactly him. What the heck? And I was like, how do I know him then? I've never met him. She's like, I don't know. That's wild. I said, that's the Spirit of truth speaking. You should listen because it knows your scenario. And she's like, that's what's up. I was like, and you're probably the same way. She's like, that's exactly when I get mad, is when I lose control. I was like, okay. I was like, now we can work. Because I'm not putting you down. I was like, we have to diagnose these issues and remedy them. I was like, and if you never say your ankle's broke, then you never get it fixed. You just walk with a limp for the rest of your life. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, so we got to do this. I ain't putting you down. We're talking about what is your life. And we're going to sort this out against the counsel of God or in the counsel of God. You know, I was like, so that at the end of this, you know something that you didn't before you went in. So that you can now live in that knowledge and walk in that way and help share the thing, you know. And it has, again, this has nothing to do with her vocalized, expressed lifestyle of sin in theme. This has everything to do with the lack of knowledge of the things she should know. Like, you don't know your Father in heaven. You don't know life in him. You don't know what he's done. You don't know why that means what it does. You don't know any of these things. I would do her a disservice to sit there and only talk about that one thing right now. Do you realize that? Because then she'll say, okay, I'll stop. And we do that all the time. You need to stop smoking. You need to stop doing this. You need to get right with the Lord. So you stop smoking. But did you learn anything new about him? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't teach you anything about God. God teaches you things about God. His Spirit teaches you things about, like, you understand what I'm saying? And on the one side we'll go, don't teach works-based things for salvation. Okay, then stop telling people to quit things. It's the same, that's the other side of the same coin. If I stop doing this, I'll know more about God. No, if you talk to God, you'll know more about God. If you actually, I'll go further, if you obey what you hear him say, then and only then will you know him. That's what Shema means. Hear, O hear. Shema, what is it? Shema, O Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. And that doesn't mean not many. It's not a monotheistic versus polytheistic. It's oneness, which is what Shema is. It's one word that means to hear and carry out in obedience. It means his life and the action is not separate from his word. That is oneness. So if we want to be one in them, as he is one, you can't be separate from what his word says in your expression in life either. Because God is what his word says as one existence. This is what we're doing, you know? So if I say, hey, God's love, and I never show you love, then I'm not expressing him. As right as the intel can be, I'm not carrying it out properly. You understand what I'm saying? So I did throw in one day, one of the last conversations, when we was talking about the thing regarding whatever, her lifestyle, I said it real quick in there. I said, look, they'll throw you off roofs, they'll burn you alive, they'll do whatever. I go, we're simply communicating that you don't inherit the kingdom of God. That's what it says. And we're trying to tell you that so you can receive what the blood of Christ does for you so that you can inherit the kingdom of God. Because you don't even know how deep deception goes, and you don't even know how many people walk around in a cloud thinking this is life, and it's just not. It's like people are so tied up and bound that, like, and it's because of the absence of what they should know. They're not given those, you know, spiritual razor blades to cut the ropes off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's whatever. I was like, it is an issue of inheritance or not. I was like, and people should be communicating these things to you. These are our promises. These are our hope. Like, you know, I was like, this is what we belong to. I don't belong to this faith with no hope, guys. I don't know about you. I do not belong to this faith without hope. It's kind of part of the main deal there. You know what I'm saying? Faith, hope, and love. These three remain. It has to be there. So she's receiving this stuff and making decisions in her life, which rightfully so, you know. And then when the time comes where she wants to know, okay, well, what do I do? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I get to teach her what repentance is. You know what I'm saying? And then lead her through that and all these other things. But meanwhile, never forgetting what the truth of the Spirit says regarding what my role is, what all of our roles are as ministers. It's to be a shade tree. It's to be relief. It's to bring peace. We govern in peace. Hebraically, the word peace means two parties or two things coming together to bring security from chaos and destruction. So it's like our life to him, we have sanctuary, we have salvation there, right? Their life to him, our life with each other, we sow peace so that there's not all the other stuff in between, you know? And she's got problems like everybody else has problems, and that's not her only problem. And it sucks that that's all people ever get looked at, is that one thing. And it's like, you realize that one thing's directly connected to like unbelief. Really. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you would address belief and unbelief, you'd probably get a lot further than you would stop doing something. For real. You know? Why did any of us ever pick up anything the first time? Like that we wasn't supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, why did they eat the fruit? They didn't believe what was said, right? They didn't maintain that whole thing. But anyways, side rail, I won't go down there. So we're up there doing that, you know what I mean? With her, with them, with the little youth over there in that school. With Leah's friends, they went to some church camps and stuff, and like, I swear I'm not reaming on Baptist stuff right now, but it's like, forgive me. I come out of that world. But she's at a church in our area that always has had a good youth group, big youth group, whatever. And I'm like, you can be there and make friends. You're just not there to be Baptist. So, like, she's like, what does that mean? I was like, I'm never going to not tell you that until you get it. Like, and but it's good because they're going to these camps and their friends are giving their life to the Lord and stuff. And she said, I'm going to say it, Rosie, because it's precious and it's beautiful and it's the right thing that you did. But one of her friends got baptized, and she wrote her a little letter or something and said this phrase like, I may not know all the answers in Jesus, but I will walk with you and we can find them out together. I was like, God, who said that to her? I'm like, that's my oldest kid. Heck yes, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, like you do that. You go into these arenas, And there's times they've got somebody now, and he's a great guy. But there's a time where that church just needed a youth pastor, and this lady friend of mine, she's like, you ever think about, you should really pray and think about being the youth leader? I said, nah, I'm good. And she's like, why? I said, no. I was like, look, I've come out of the belly of that beast. It's like, I'll stand at the front of the door until people would get out or like not go in, but I ain't going to serve it. I was like, I'm not going to get paid by the Southern Baptist Convention to say what they want me to say. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, not going to happen. Not at all. I was like, and I'm not even going to mince words. I'm just going to tell you exactly how I feel about it because I die on the inside if I don't say stuff like this. Like, it's like, there's not that many of me, but there's a few of us, and then we're intentional for these reasons. And she's just like, oh, okay. And she was spirit-filled. She understood. But I was like, I'm just not going to give my days to that. I was like, but I will give my days to the truth. I'll be in proximity. I'll go on scene. I'll give them the answers that the Lord's given me, not what a packet taught them. And so they're real good. I'll give them this. I was like, they're real good at studying and memorizing stuff. So at the very beginning, she was getting awards doing, what's Psalm 23? She'd recite the whole thing. I'm like, cool, babe. Do you know what that means? And at the beginning, she's like, no. I was like, well, what's the point of memorizing something if you don't even know what it means? I go, look, there's stuff the Bible says, and there's stuff that it's saying. I was like, it's saying this, it means this. I was like, this is what it means. So that you'll understand the spirit of what's said, the spirit of the word. And so I teach her that. I was like, what good's a sticker or a sucker? Because you memorize a thing you never knew. Like, and I was like, and we don't, I was like, we got to be intentional. So I was like, no, you can go there. You can be light. You can lead others. I'll let, what I'm saying? Like, it's that. I was like, and I'm just that way. And I'm at the point now to where I'm like, maybe somebody can do it better with some more tact, but like, I'm so over it. You know what I mean? Of like trying to save the very things that just should never have been going on anyways. It's like, how gentle do you throw something away? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it don't work, it's, you trash it, right? We're crumbling it up. We're tossing it. Like, when was the last time you folded your trash? Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't only hoarders do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, it's a thing. So I'm like, and that's not against, like, that probably sounded completely against the Baptists or whatever. But in my neck of the woods, it may be a different breed down here. I don't know. But in my neck of the woods, it's different. And but, I was just like, we got to walk with intentionality because we know who we belong to, all that. And we're not devaluing what looks like mundane little situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to these things, we're being who we are in the Lord. We're not yielding to someone else's thoughts of what I should be to look like what they can tolerate. Or you know what I'm saying? I'm done with that. Y'all should get done with that sooner too, if any of you are caught in that. Just like stop serving other men's opinions of how you think or how they think it should go for you. Especially if they didn't train you one day in the Word. Like, if you was around discipling me, cool, I'll listen to you, but you wasn't, man. Like, so you're going to have to pass the litmus test too, like just like everybody else. Get in line. You know what I mean? It's like there's people who can speak to certain things in my life, and then I do not let everybody. I have a big moat around my castle. I got some vicious gators in there, and some piranha, and some, you know, it's like good luck. Like, you know, they got some good archers too, so you can try to jump that thing, but they'll just hit you in midair, like, you know. So it's like, let's go if you want that, you know. It's like, but you need to know that, you know, there's something bigger and stronger and more fortified that has transformed me and made me care about things I otherwise didn't care about, you know. And so anyways, I'm just bringing that stuff to people, and I'm finding weird success because it doesn't look like a church plant. It doesn't look like any of that. It looks like wilderness turned into farmland is what it looks like. It's like, cool, there ain't no structure of that at all, but someone grew something. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I'll let the Lord be the vine dresser. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, far be it from me. I ain't going to build a wall around you outside of teaching you self-control. Like, you can have that. Like, that's a good wall. But other than that, it's like, hey, like, I don't even know if I'm even going to see you again. And that shouldn't dictate whether or not I give you the truth. You know? And if I do, I should invest my time and willingness to sit there until it finds a good spot. You know, until at least you're encouraged to go do something with it, you know. But, I don't know, I just want to share those things because it's like, if I was sitting there hearing somebody say these types of things, the way I am, the way I'm either wired or whatever, the things I find that are valuable, but you don't hear many people say all the time, like, it encourages me to hear, like, okay, you can, like, just talk at work and you can equate that to being, like, legitimate and not like, well, you didn't come to our, you know, we had a big thing, you should have came, you would have got all your answers. It's like, bro, I can't, no, that never happens. Like, you know, the reason it's so excelled half the time when we're doing stuff all together is because we all know things. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're already, like, when I say to a certain degree, like, we're already have certain depths of maturity and knowledge in God, so when we all come together, it just magnifies, you know. But to the one who don't know nothing, it's awkward. Like, why are you happy? Like, you don't even know. The reason isn't replaying in your spirit, where you're reading one line on a song, and you're not rejoicing to the truth of just that sentence. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm not. Why would I? I'm like, that's a good question. I don't know why you would. You don't even know what there's to be happy about. So, like, all right, so it sounds like someone has a job to do. You know what I mean? So, anyways, it's real, and it's meeting them where they're at, and that doesn't mean leaving them there. I will never be that guy. You know, none of us should. You know, just, you know, use wisdom on how to pull somebody out if you have to. But no, I mean, I can see them. Like, these days are coming where you just have to say these things, or you're going to be guilty for suppressing the truth, and you can't blame it on the bad guys at that point. I mean, who doesn't turn? Whose problem is it that light isn't shining in the darkness, but the one who has the light? Like, you're the one flipping the switch off. Quit. You know, take the bushel off of it, you know? And again, it's not just like, you know, for you young dudes or kids, whatever, it ain't just shouting everything you think you know. It's like, learn to get mature faster by, like, listening to people and then hearing their scenario and then running it by what the wisdom of God says as far as you've been taught. And know that you're probably going to have their answer, yes, but, like, you know, it takes some, like, submission to some stuff, you know? You can't just spout everything you know, because it's just wrong in the sense of, like, really unmatured, like, you know? But that doesn't mean you're not without reason. It means show them what it's like to submit to a higher authority by valuing them where they're at in their stuff and seeking the truth for them and minister to them in that way. Does that make sense? Like, I really hope you get that, because you'll go a lot farther that way. You're going to lose a lot of friends that are just constantly thinking you know better. If you know better, fix it. Minister it.
You know, it's like, I hear the ticking in your engine. I know what that is. Well, that's great. Where are your tools? Nah, I know what it is. Like, fix the thing then, man. Like, you know, it's like, so just, you know, I know you got a good world of in the motocross stuff. Show them integrity, show them humility, show them confidence, show them bravery, show them, you know what I'm saying? Show them those things in the moments you get to. Show them what it's like to not covet a stinking trophy or a medal that's not real metal or gold. Like, you know what I mean? Show them what that doesn't look like, or what that looks like to not covet something. You know? Compliment what they're doing. Admire their hard work and dedication. You know what I'm saying? Like, be not all about you. You know, when you win, win gracefully. When you lose, lose gracefully. Like, you know, show them that stuff, man. It's just what we belong to, what's been purchased for. It's just not a bumper sticker, and it's not a T-shirt. It's not that cheap and that little. It's alive, and it has to meet them inside their hearts and grow. It's a big deal, you know. So we got to internally be in agreement. Like, we got to stop making this thing small, or act like it's not happening until we, I don't know. I told a bunch of pastors up there in a regional pastor meeting, which I haven't been brought back to. Yeah, you're about to find out. So, when I was living here, I was like, I didn't drive all the way from Alabama to be quiet. I was sitting up there, I was like, I listened to all y'all for like an hour and a half. I was like, and there's not much faith in this room at all. I was like, you're all sitting here begging God to do things that I can, off the top of my dome, recall He's already told you to do. I was like, you think fitting the right song is going to fix it? It ain't going to. I was like, you think preaching miracles is doing it? You preach the gospel, miracles validate it. I was like, you know, I go, there's two greatest messages ever preached. One's the gospel and one's revival. And actually one of them is the greatest message ever preached, though. I said, and if you're going to believe in revival more than the gospel, I said, then you can have it, but you have to admit that you're dead, because only a dead man says, I need to be revived. But if you can't acknowledge a death in your own works, then then what are you doing? I said, or if you can't agree that you're dead in your own works, I said, then at least agree with Ephesians 2, where you've been made alive in Christ. So if you've been made alive in Christ, why are you asking to be made alive again? Pick one. I was like, you're either alive or you're dead. Say it and live in that. Like, cry out for revival if you're dead. Fine. But the problem is, I say, okay, then we stop doing X, Y, and Z. And you're like, no, that's been serving us for years. I'm like, I beg to differ. You're all begging for new life. So where is the thing that you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a problem. You're made alive or you're not. What's the truth? What does Ephesians say? We've been made alive. So chase the truth, live in it, put that on, live from there. Demonstrate the truth, show the truth. That's the only way people know the truth. So I told him, I was like, how many more meetings you need before you realize this? How many meetings you got in a month, man? Talk to this one guy's like, I don't know how many. I was like, so what is it? You're wanting kids to go reach the gospel to school, or take the gospel to school? I said, the reason, I was like, you're going, God, send somebody, blah, blah. I said, the reason your kids are in there, man. I go, the reason they ain't doing it is because you're not making it attractive to them, because you're gone constantly, because everyone else matters more than your own family. I said, that's what it is. You're not showing it to be attractive. I told Leah that I refuse to make this thing, as you follow us and what we do, to be unattractive to you. I'll teach you what suffering for Christ is legitimately, but I will not make this unattractive to you. So that you know, so that when you go in those areas, you're the one there. You're the guy for the job. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, why are your kids not doing this? And like, aren't you an elder in the church? Like, doesn't the list of qualifications say your family got to be raised effectively in this? Like, so how come? Like, what are we doing here? Y'all just want a seat? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's stuff I was saying to him. But it's true, and I was like, just stop having all these meetings of strategizing and just believe the truth and walk it out. Doing what he said to do, like, what are you doing? If the meetings of strategy aren't Bible studies, what are we doing? Like, what is the will? Let's search this out. Let's discover this, and let's encourage each other to walk this out in faith. And I'm not going to try to squash your faith on a thing. If you're moving in faith, that's faith. Keep going with that. And we should do that with each other. But But, you know, it's just like, I don't know, you guys, and like half of the room was grinning ear to ear, like, you know, saying like, yeah, that's true, and the other half was staring at me like, who's this guy that got to say, you know, they just said this to me, and then one of my buddies looked at another guy, he was like, you know he's right, right? And then just walked off, and I was like, buddy, I don't even care if I ever get brought back to that. I was like, if they ain't going to want to do something in that way of just yielding to just what is right, I said, I don't know. There ain't nothing you can do, because we're trying to, you know, we're trying to walk with God, reconciled with God. You know, I go, Jesus didn't go around preaching revival. He went around reconciled to his Father, reconciling men to his Father, repenting from ways that are separate from him. You know, I was like, you come in, follow obedience. You're good. It's the only way to discover it. But no, anywho, we're plugging away. We're doing stuff like that. Just thought I'd catch you guys up to speed. I don't have sermons in me. I just talk, you know. And I tell people, I told some dudes up there that are in our group, I said, you've really got to learn how to hear a teaching in a person when it's not packaged as a teaching. I said, it is so important that, like, the apostles are telling you, if anyone brings another teaching to you, don't accept them. Don't let them in your house. I said, how are they supposed to even know what to do with that unless they was trained to know how to identify a teaching? So you got to listen when people talk, really in there. Like, you know, it's like it could be 5 seconds out of a 4-minute window. Like, you know, that little 5 seconds was a teaching. And bloop, bloop, and it comes through, like, ooh, okay. Like, you know, it's like you gotta sense that. You gotta look for it, you know. You just listen to people. Because you'll hear it. If you kids listen to what your friends are saying, and if you know anything in here, you'll hear where it's wrong and why it's wrong, almost simultaneously. You'll get it. You're just like, that's not right, because Jesus said this. It's like, that should be your next sentence. Like, hey, man, like, you know, so I was thinking, what you said made me think this. Boom, and then you start. And then they're like, I never thought about that. Or, hey, consider this. Boom, like, you know, you got to. But it'll make it purposeful. And it's not so you can come back and tell everybody you've been doing a whole bunch of awesome stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just do it because it's the way life should go. You got to be a shade tree. You got to be a river. You got to feed them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know, don't do the whole, look how many people I'm helping kind of thing, right? It's like, just do it because it's your nature. Water hydrates. It doesn't tell everything how wet it is. It just is, right? Just hydrate. Like, you know, just do that to people. But anyways, the world is our oyster. The wilderness, as chaotic as it is, and it's rising even more, do not shy back from any of this. Be bold, be intentional. It only means it's wild to be turned into a lush ground. So view it that way and look at all of this weird stuff as opportunity to answer it with what has been written and what your Father says about the matter. And just know that is the highest authority you can even touch. This is what the Creator says. Sorry, but not sorry. And just let it land. Take it on the chin. You know, if it's written for you to die by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. You ain't going to change that. If you're to captivity, you go. To captivity, you go. You can't change that. Stay alive till the end. You're staying alive till the end. You can't die soon. It's just you can't change what's written. So just find what's written and give it. And as you go, nothing's on accident. Nothing's, you know, it's just what it is, man. So be bold. Things are getting weird. People probably know. Y'all know. Things are getting weird, but it's nothing new. It ain't nothing new. Nothing's new under the sun. I believe that. I also believe that, we was talking last night, I said my problem with a lot of people, not against them, I was like, the problem that they have with me, I go, I believe words like, whoever keeps my words in them, the Father and I will come and take up residency in you. And I will be with you always, forever to the end of the age. It's like, I'm not abandoned. I straight up believe He's with me. I don't need certain things that other people need to do their job. It's like, He's with me. What else do I need? He's in there. The word's in there. I kept them. They're there. I'm doing my best to walk those out. He's with me. He said so. So you get to encounter the way Christ is with me. You get to encounter the inferno of the Spirit of God as He burns through me when He does. You know what I'm saying? Like, He's with me. He's done nothing but convince me that. You know, and that's not me to say, hey, so if I touch you, some awesome stuff happens. I'm just saying it gives me confidence to embark in whatever's out there. It's just like, I'm not alone, I'm not alone, I'm not alone, I'm not alone. And I'm like the only guy there that even speaks the way I speak. You know, it's like, I'm not alone, I'm not alone. And then collectively, everybody, the New Age group, there's some world famous tattooers that I was talking to not too long ago. They're awesome at what they do. They're weird. They're sweet. They're weird. But they're saying like, it's like I'm an alien. I'm not even kidding. Like they're like, I love listening to this guy talk. He says things I've never heard of before, and I don't even know what to do with it, but it's like mesmerizing. I'm just like, what the heck? You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not even trying to be like that. I'm just talking to you. So then I'm sitting here going like, dear Lord, like how deprived are you as a human? Like, you know, I'm just going like, oh no. Like if this is foreign to you, I'm like, whoa, you're way back there in the line. And like, we got to get you something. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you're seeing all that, you know, it's just like, what are you guys, like, this is wild. I'm like, God, you are with me. Because they're not talking to me like I'm one of their own. You know, so whose am I? You know, I just got those things in my satchel ready to answer that stuff. Who, you know, where do you get this? Where do you know, blah, blah. Like, from here. You know, and then just know this ain't what you've experienced. This ain't the God that some crooked men showed you because they only wanted offerings or whatever. Just not the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is it. So, like, I'm sorry that we've done a terrible job misrepresenting them or whatever. It's like, but there is one to know. Doesn't change who God is. Men are men. Let men be liars and God be true, right? Amen. So, I was like, it matters what we say. It matters how we say it. It matters all that. But, so anyways, I'll end. You all have ample opportunity. It's called life. Welcome to the mission field. As soon as you can do your own thing and make your own bed and dress yourself, you've arrived. Like, you're there. Let's go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't devalue others because they can't profit you. You know what I'm saying? They matter more than all of our own plans. So the lady at a church that we went to for a while and served down in Cairo, Illinois, she used to say this phrase all the time. She said, don't pass up ministry for ministry. And then I was like, bro, most of what Jesus' miracles took place when he was going to where the Father said to go, and then he got interrupted along the way. We get to read all that. That's how, you know, so many of those stories is that. And it's just like, cool. I mean, he still did what he was supposed to do, but I'm saying he didn't go, sorry, I'm a, you know. It's like the story of the Good Samaritan. Oh, I'm about the Lord's business. Can't help you right now. You know, it's like, nah, stop, pick him up, help him do, you know. It's like, it's this, you know. So be encouraged to live that way. Don't compare yourself with men that come through here that we all know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to be confident in the truth and live that out. Let parts of the body do what that part of the body does. Receive what they have, you know. But if you're called to that same walk, cool. You'll be there. There'll be a good guide for you, you know. But if you're not, it doesn't mean you don't belong. You know, it doesn't mean you don't have a purpose. It means all of the ministers should be doing these things in barren land. So do them. Whatever land you're in, it's all open. The harvest is ripe, you know. So that's what I want to share. I guess, yeah, I don't really have nothing else. You got something to say? Okay. Did he just live text you that? Okay. Thanks, Bo. Okay. Okay, well, okay. So, okay. He wants me to pray and lay hands on people. Okay. I hope you feel something. I don't know. So if this encourages, gave something, you know, cool. So I guess we'll do that. Can you play keys? I know you, yeah. So we can open this time for that. I do believe, for whatever reason, my attention keeps going to you guys. So I do believe that you have to make some decisions in life, you know, to really understand your freedom of what you have. You know what I'm saying? It's not a cookie cutter. None of this is a cookie cutter thing. You know, be confident in the Lord. Let his truth open up and light the ways for your feet to go. And understand if you submit to the right discipline, the right discipleship in the Lord, you will be equipped to when you arrive to wherever you're at, you never leave the stuff at home. We were saying something else last night. It said, if you believe, Jesus says this, if you believe accordingly, then out of you will flow rivers of living water. So it's like, that's my goal for myself. That's my goal for you all. That's why I'm still talking and rambling right now. It's not pointless. It's still flowing. It's like when you think and you believe accordingly to something, it just opens up and you see it, and it just keeps going. And that should be, you all should be geysers for the people around you. You know, but you can't like just open up the hydrant and fill a cup. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let it drizzle in some sort of self-controlled manner. Does that make sense? So that you can serve them in gentleness and humility. You know, because it's not about how much water you have. It's just that they get fed and quenched, hydrated, right? So, if you all want to stand up, I don't know. I mean, you don't have to. Just do what your spirit's stirring you to do right now. Okay, I'm not trying to force nothing here. So just if you're feeling like, you know what, something, you don't have to know what, something about what I'm saying makes sense for me. I don't even know what that looks like. But it gives me hope. It gives me some faith regarding of how I can walk forward. That's all I want to touch. It's just, you don't got to be nothing but available for people. You don't got to be a hero for them. You don't got to be any of that. Just be available and meet them where they're at, and they'll love you for it. That's right. Don't you ever dare advertise your ministry to a person or anything that you think you have like that. It's just the eternal sunshine of God's face and the rays of his own heart. That's what they're getting. Nothing else. Does this make sense? And if you don't know when you realize there's a deficit, then do what my 13-year-old daughter does. Make a point to go, I don't know, but we will find out together, so let's go. And you do that. And if she can do it, you can do it. Does this make sense? Because it's not about accomplishing anything. It's about walking in the way that you ought to go. So be shade, be water, be life for people. So I'll pray for whoever. I'm not trying to talk myself out of that. Saying I'll pray for whoever. So I don't know. You're free to voice whatever it touched in you, Timmy. Okay? So we'll take this time to come forward if you want. And yeah, we'll do that. So let's just stand and pray real quick. Father, I thank you, Lord. I thank you for your word and your light. And I thank you for the freedom that you've given us through your Spirit. And I thank you for how sharp and effective you are, and how kind and caring and considerate you are. And I thank you for the benevolence that you are. I pray that you touch our hearts today. Equip us with the good things that you want us to have. Stir up your hope in our hearts, Lord. Your Spirit says you bring to our remembrance things you taught. So we say yes to that. Bubble them up. Remind us of your teachings. Remind us of the truth. Remind us of your life so we can see it and take it. Forgive us for looking left and right, for being preoccupied with things that don't prosper us in the ways that we're meant to prosper. We We acknowledge you, Lord. So if you want prayer, come forward. I won't do it on the microphone or anything.